Good morning, Rabbi Isai. So let's see the Gemara. We're talking about where a person, the shepherd, inserts his hand inside an animal and touches the dead fetus inside. So if it's a kosher animal, not tameh. If it's a non-kosher animal, we had a machlokes. So says the Gemara, if there's a pregnant pig, a pregnant chazar, according to what we just said, it shouldn't be tameh at all. It's only when you have four feet inside a stomach, then. But a chazar has mafres parsa. A chazar has 8. So it shouldn't give any tumah. The it's 8 by 8, 8 inside of 8. You're right, so we have to come with a new pasuk. How do I know there's an afkamina between, according to Rabbi Seglili? How do you know there's an afkamina if you touch a kosher animal that's dead inside its mother, you're tahar? And if you touch a tamei animal, l'mashal, a donkey inside a donkey, then you do become tamei? Nefesh kisiga b'chol tamei. Oy. Benivlas chaya tmeya, benivlas behema tmeya, oy benivlas sheretz tamei. Pay attention that the pasuk is talking about all these tamei animals. If you touch the dead corpse of a chaya, of a lion, or that of a pig, a behema, or benivlas sheretz, a dead rat, tamei. The question is, I've been trying to repeat this halacha over and over so that the olam, all of MDY knows this inside out. If you touch a dead cat, you become tamei. If you touch a dead dog, tamei. A dead sheep, tamei. Dead cow, tamei. There's no, every animal in the world gives off tumah unless you shechted a cow or a sheep, and unless it's not one of the shmona shratzim. No, that's a sheretz. That's a dead juk is not a. It's a sheretz, more like a sheretz, and it's not one of the shmoina. So no. So it could get confusing, but if you have the idea, fine. Now, a dead bird, well, it depends. If it's a kosher bird, it's not metama, only if you swallow it. So ask the Gemara, I don't understand the pasuk. Why did the pasuk say if you touch a dead chaya tmeya, only if you touch a dead lion, or benivlas behema tmeya, or you touch a dead horse, oy benivlas sheretz tamei. V'chinivlas behema tmeya metama b'toyer lemetama. What if you touch a dead cow? You also become tamei. Says Rabbi Yosef Aglili, here's my raya. Ela is a ubar shebetmeya tmeya tamei ub'toyer tar. This pasuk is telling us about the tumah of a fetus. So if it's a fetus of a tamei animal, that of a pig, of a horse, of a donkey, that's metama. Ub'toyer, but if you touch the fetus, the ubar of a cow, the shepherd sticks his hand in and touches the dead fetus of a cow, tar. That's why I see the nafkamin from this pasuk. Says the Gemara, so once I have this beautiful pasuk of nefesh kisiga of nivas chay tmeya, the Rabbi Yitzchak Lamali, the pasuk that I had yesterday, the chol hoy lechal arba. What do I do with that pasuk? You love the Rabbi Yitzchak. Without that pasuk, avamino kulei likede Rebbe hudasa. So we're going to see in a few minutes. Rebbe says that there's a carbon oil of a yared. We're going to go into it, and that refers to somebody that eats kachim. So I would think that the entire pasuk of Rav Nachman goes towards that. Kamash Malon, no, because Rabbi Yitzchak says that a fetus that has that its feet are not mafres parsa, a single foot is tamei. So that's why Rabbi Yitzchak comes and says that even if his feet are paros, then like a chazer, then he's tamei. So we'll see that sugya later. Tanya Rabbi Yonasan. New sugya. Namti loyle ben Azai. So the lashon is very interesting. I said over to Ben Azai. Now, I want you to realize who's Ben Azai. Ben Azai said about himself that everybody in Klal Yisrael is like the klibas hashum, like the peel of a garlic. That's how small they are. Besides that bald one over there, I call upon him. Ben Azai was huge. So Ben Azai, I'm just prefacing this to understand who Ben Azai is. He's from the Gdoilad Dar, if not the Gdoilad Dar, right? Well, he's in time of Rebbe Kiva, so from the Gdoilad. He says, I told Ben Azai, Lomadnu nivlas be'ema Torah shemetama, v'nivlas be'ema tmeya shemetama. I see that a dead kosher animal is metama, a dead tamei animal is metama, nivlas chaya tmeya shemetama. I see that the body of a lion that's dead is metama, an elephant is metama. Nivlas chaya tahira loy lomadnu. But where do we see a dead deer? Where do I see that one? Normally, so he answers me. Ben Azai answers, Kol hoylech al kappa b'chol hachayo haylechs. B'chol hachayo haylechs. All the chayos. So that includes also deer. Namti lois, I told him back, Kinemar v'chol hachayo. It doesn't say all. V'aloi lo nemer ela b'chol. In all the chayos. And that is only l'malchi kapayim b'chayo da'asa. No, it's only, that is referring to the halacha that we said yesterday in Rabbi Yitzchak, that if it doesn't have mafresh paris, 1 foot, and it's in the mother's stomach, then it's metama. Normally, so Ben Azai answers, Umay Yishmael lo yimer b'dov hazeh. I think it's super interesting to notice that he doesn't say Rebbe Shmuel. He's mizalzel with him a little bit. Umay Yishmael lo yimer b'dov hazeh. Your Rebbe. What does your Rebbe have to say about this? Namti lois, I told him, V'chiyamos min ha'behema zu behema tmeya. This is the pasuk we had the other day here, that the pasuk comes in 2 parts. Obviously, the green, asher hi lochem la'achla, that you're permitted to eat, so obviously it's talking about a kosher animal. The chiddush is that the 4 words before, the chiyavas min ha'beim is referring to a non-kosher, red, non-kosher. So he tells him, chiyavas min ha'beim zu beim tmeya. Asher hi lochem la'achla, zu beim tahira. Lamanu chaya b'chlal behemo, behemo b'chlal chaya. They're interchangeable. The chayas and the behemoths, they go together. Chay tahira b'chlal behemo tahira, chay tmeya b'chlal behemo tmeya. Whatever halachas we have by a kosher chaya, we have by a kosher behema. Whatever we have by a non-kosher chaya, we have by a non-kosher behema. Daf ayin aleph amud aleph, 70 daf. Behema tmeya b'chlal chaya tmeya, and a behema tmeya like a chazer is included in the halachas of a lion. Behema tahira b'chlal chaya tahira, and a cow is included in the halachas of a deer. So Meila, I know also the deer. You ask me, how do I know deer? Here, from B'chol, from this pasuk, V'chiyavos min ha'behema, u'ba'loshen hazeh omar li. It's also interesting to note how he's quoting the exact loshen. He said, Chaval al Ben Azai. So Rashi says on Omid Beis, like 15 lines up, Chaval is a hefsed v'chavbala hi ba'olam. It's like an injury to the world, a loss and an injury to the world, that I, Ben Azai, didn't know this. Shelo yishimesh es, all of a sudden notice, es Rebbe Yishmael. A minute ago, it's Yishmael. What does Yishmael have to say? Oh, I see he knows his stuff. Chaval, I didn't learn by Rebbe Yishmael. Had I learned by him, I wouldn't have had this kind of, this loss, tremendous loss, a hefsed. One little piece of Torah, hefsed, chabala to the world. Okay, so now we move on. Where do we see that a wild animal is included in a domesticated animal? The Torah starts off, these are the animals, the behemoths, which you can eat. And it says, shar, sex, ovim. All of a sudden, without switching anything, it says, Ayol utzvi v'yachmor. Take a look at the picture. It's a beautiful picture. Ayol tzvi v'yachmor. These are the wild animals, the chayas. But the pasuk starts off behema. So you see, behema and chaya are interchangeable. Gazelle, a deer, an antelope, something like that. Things that you see in the safari. So okay, it's not chaya v'chlal behema. Givaldik. Chaya is included in the word zois ha-behema. Behema, b'chlal chayim, how do I know the reverse? That when the Torah talks about chaya, it refers also to behema. The siv zois ha-chaya, again, the Torah starts off with chaya, shetichelu, toichlu, mikol ha-behema asher ha'aretz. And what's the continuation? Kol mafreses parsa, v'shishtas shesa. It gives you the simanim of a behema, not of a chaya. So you see that a chaya and a behema are interchangeable. Okay, it's a behema b'chlal chaya. Behema is included in the Chaya. Chaya Tahira B'chlal Behema Tahira. For what purpose? L'simanim. That the same, they share the simanim. The Chaya, even though the Torah doesn't say specifically by Chaya what the simanim are, it's Mafres Geira, Mafres Paras Amala Geira, Chaya Tahira B'chlal Behema Tahira. The simanim. Chaya Tameya B'chlal Behema Tameya Laharba. The wild animal, the wild Tameya is included in the Behema Tameya Laharba. Just like you're not allowed to take two behemoths and do klein with them, come up with some new species. So too, you're not allowed to do same thing with a chaya here. He did something like in between. Okay, kids, you're not allowed to do crazy experimental stuff. Behema tmeya b'chlal chaya tmeya. Look at the Rebbe. Oh, so this is the Rebbe we mentioned before. This Anya, we're talking about a carbon oil of yared. So let's just go back. What's a carbon oil of yared? Not everybody knows. There's a certain carbon that, depending on how wealthy you are, that's what you bring. So if you're wealthy, you bring an animal, one on the left. If you're poor, you bring birds. If you're super, super poor, you bring the flour. Oh, look at the Rebbe, this Anya. Rebbe Omer. Ekra. No, I'm just. Rebbe Omer. Ekra ani chaya. The Torah says chaya. Behema lamal nemra. There's an extra word here, he says. If behema is included in chaya, then why do I need the word behema? Nemar kan behema tmeya. By the oil of yared it says behema. V'nemar la'alon behema tmeya. Ma la'alon tumas kodesh. Just later on we're talking about that a person ate kachim when he's tamei. Afkan tumas kodesh. So all Rebbe's trying to accomplish here is to say that the carbon oil of yared goes for somebody who eats kachim in the Beis Hamikdash while he's tamei. Great. Behema tahira b'chlal chaya tahira liyitzira. And I only knew that because the behema is included in chaya, and since behema is included in chaya, the word behema is extra, and that's how I know his gzeir shava that you do a oil of yared when you again nachama. What's going on here? We're talking about the behema is included in the chaya. He says since the behema is a chaya, so then why does the Torah have to say chaya and a behema? It's already included in chaya. Oh, so I have extra word. So therefore, I learn a whole special thing about carbon oil of yared with that extra word, the gzeir shava. Now, behema tahira b'chlal chaya tahira. What does that mean? Liyitzira. So we all know this pasuk. Vayitzer Hashem elikim es ha'adam afer min adama. The word vayitzer, he created. That word is also by a chaya. Oh, the ma'inaf kimina. Now we have a beautiful. That's what's so cool about today's sugya is that, especially for new people, we're going to go through so many different things and ideas. It could be overwhelming. There's a lot of geshmak stuff. Hamapeles min behema chayvoiv. So first of all, let's go through this. If a woman gives birth to a boy or a girl, big nafkamina. These are psukim. Give birth to a boy, a woman is automatically tamei for 7 days. Only 7 days. After the 7 days, she gets 33 freebies. Even if she sees dam, she's completely tar. If a woman gives birth, a total of 40 days. If a woman gives birth to a nekeva, she's tamei for double, 14 days. So if she gives birth to a nekeva, 14 days. How many days of tahara does she have? Double. Everything is double of a zachar. Her tumah days are double, but her freebies are also double, 66, for a total of 80. Oh, what if a woman gives birth to a giraffe? Hamapelis min behema. It's like a behema, looks like a cow. A chaya, voif, a bird. Bein tmeim bein tahir, and whether they're tamei animals or tar animals. Im zachar, if this thing that looks like an animal is a zachar, teishev l'zachar. She should sit 7 days of tumah, 33 days of tahara. Im nekeva, and if it's in a keva, teishev l'nekeva, 14 days of tumah, 66 of tahara. Any yedua, if you don't know, we can't tell anymore. Teishev l'zachar v'l'nekeva. Look at this. She gets the worst of both worlds. Which is the more tumah days? Nekeva. She gets 14 days of tumah for nekeva. Hold on. I'm going to keep on going. With the suffix. She's going to get 14 days of a nekeva, but only 33 days of There's tahara of zachar, but she doesn't get full 33 because she already used up some. She only gets 26. Because if she was tummy 7 days, she goes all the way to 40, which is 33. Over here, she's going to go all the way to 40, but she's tummy for 14 days. So you only get 26 left. Gets her the worst of both worlds. Any duat is zachar in the cave of the remeir. So we're talking about remeir here. Since it says yitzira by a chaya, so we learned that also to the behema, and you have these halachas, whether or not this woman gave birth to someone who looks like a chaya, is a chaya, it's a hippopotamus. If it's a hippopotamus and it's a nekeva, you sit for a nekeva. Chacham say no. Kol she'enim mitzvah sadam, if it looks like a hippopotamus, ein vlad. The chaylik. Rabbanan Ikra Lamali. Rabbanan who argue on Rabbi Yossi Aglili. They say that no matter what you touch, in the Mishnah, no matter what you touch, if you touch a tamei animal, you're also tar. Haikra Lamali. This passage that we just said in Nefesh, what did they use it for? Kule, like the Rebbe who the Asa, it comes for that Gzeir Shava that we had before for Rebbe, that he learns that a carbon oil of a yared works for somebody who ate kachim betuma. New Mishnah. Ha'isha shameis vlada b'sech meyel. A woman, Rahman al-Islan, had a stillborn in her. It's dead. Upash t'chayis yod v'nagabah. And the midwife touched the dead baby while still inside the mother. Hachayot tmeyot tumas shiva. The midwife is tamei as if she touched a dead person, because she did touch a dead person. The chiddush is that the mother, vayisha tahira achayete avlad. Listen to this. I mean, if you carried a casket of a baby, it was in a pshuta kliyetz, let's say, if there's such a thing. Let's say you, a platter, a plain piece of wood, and you put your hands under it. So there's a good, 3 inches between you and the baby. And you move it, you become tamei. It's masa. So this mother, how come she's not masa? She's carrying a dead baby in her. The answer is, no. Mechitzas don't work. That's what I'm just telling you. There was a mechitzah between my hand and the dead baby with a plank of wood. It doesn't work. I'm moving it, I'm carrying it. That's tamei. I become tamei. The answer is because there's a new concept today called belua. It's swallowed in. And since this tumah is swallowed within her body, it doesn't give her tumah. And it's a pasuk. Here, check this out. This guy has a dead cat inside of him. So, and he touches fruit, the tar. Why? It's tumah belua. It's swallowed inside him. It doesn't emit tumah. Ka'ach tahara belua einamatama. So too, if he has a ring inside of him, and he's in a room with a dead person, and that tumah spreads in the entire room, tumas oil, it spreads everywhere, the ring remains green and tar. Tumah bloom and all. And how do I know this whole concept? Listen to this. A guy eats a steak that's nevela, swallows it whole. Okay, a nice chunk, a lamb chop. Okay, takes the whole piece of meat, puts it in. He's tamei. His clothes are tamei. Even, we're talking about even in a case where he eats it 1 minute before Shkia, what does he do? He runs to the mikvah right before Shkia, dunks in, a minute later he's tar. Become a Rahman tar. The Torah doesn't say, oh no, only somebody ate a steak 6 hours ago, 12 hours ago. Even if the Torah doesn't make it out, if you eat a piece of nevela, it's in your body, you go to the mikvah, you tar. There's a shtik nevela inside of you. What do? Not because, so I see the concept of tumah blua. The reason why it's not matame you is because it's swallowed up inside of you. Ask the Gemara, how do you know? Maybe there's no such concept as tumah blua. And the reason why you go to the mikveh and you are tar is because you can't feed it to anybody. You can't give it to another person. You swallowed it a minute ago. How are you going to give it? Not because nobody's going to eat it. It's disgusting. There's 2 types of tumah, Rabbi side. There's the severe tumah that you can be matama another human being, and there's less of a tumah that you can be matama food. So this or that is the shear is not giving it to a ger, meaning another human being, a guy that's mikabel himself not to do avodah zarah. The shear is until that a dog is not going to eat it. Shapir, over here it's royal lekelev. If you swallowed a piece of lamb chop and you spit it up, and the dog will take it and eat it in a second. So Mela, that's why, the reason why it's not matama person is because of the concept of blua. Over here I see the concept of blua. Why? Because this piece of meat is still good for a dog. So why is it not matama the person? He just went to the mikvah. He goes to the mikvah, and if you look at an x-ray, you'll see a beautiful lamb chop right over here, stuck right over here. He goes to the mikvah, he's tar. Why? He can feed it to the dog. The answer is blua. So here you do see the concept of blua. Now you want to be matama person, it's only if you could serve it to another human being, and this you cannot serve to another human being. Only the lighter one is for the dog. So the reason why this person who went to the mikvah, he is tar, is not because there's a concept of tuma blua, because he just can't serve it to another human being, and that's why he's tar. You bring me a raya, there's a concept called tuma blua. It's not true. The reason why if he eats a piece of lamb chop, and it's in his body, and he goes to the mikvah, he's tar, because he can't serve it to another person. You're right that if the ger sees you popping it out of your mouth, he won't eat it. It's still a very good steak. So Mela, it is royal for a ger. And so why is it not matama? It's not matama because of tuma blua. Ashkelon tuma blua, tahara blua menolan. So I know this case, we just discussed the case with the dead nevela inside of him. How do you know that tuma doesn't go into his body? In other words, the nevela doesn't go out of his body, I know. How do you know that tuma doesn't go into the body? Oh, so we're going to another sugya now. Here, if you have a earthenware vessel and it's completely sealed off with wax, the whole thing, so whatever's inside of it doesn't become tameh if there's tumah in the room. So if the whole room becomes tameh, why? They brought a dead person into the room, and that creates tumas oil. The whole room becomes red and tameh. Whatever's inside of that vessel, tar. It's a shield against tumah. So what's the kavachomer? It's closed, sealed completely. But check this out: if there's a dead person inside of it, the tumah is going to escape. It will make the person sitting on top of it or in the room. Tameh, it has the ability to shield from the outside, but it doesn't have an ability to shield from the inside. So a human being that has the ability to shield from the inside, if it has a dead nevela inside of it, the tumah doesn't escape like this picture. So certainly, if there's a ring inside of him, he should be able to shield the ring. Nachamol. In this case, I'll show you this picture. In this case, a earthenware, if there's a dead person in the room, the tumah of the dead person does not go into the piece of earthenware. But if there's tumah in the earthenware, it escapes outside. A person is the exact opposite. A person, not opposite. A person, at least in this case, is opposite. If he has a dead cat inside of him, the tumah doesn't go to the outside, it remains inside. So therefore, if something's inside, like a ring, it should remain inside. The tumah from the outside should not get him. Domar mar, tumah ritzutza, boikas v'oila l'rikia. If you have a dead person in a basic forest, in a caver, let's say, and he's contained in there, he feels suffocated, the dead person feels suffocated. In other words, the top of the caver is less than one tefach to the nose of the dead person. What's going to happen? This. I don't know why there's music to this. Now if he puts a pipe in there, you could take the tumah, you could get the tumah out. Otherwise, the tumah goes up to the sky. Oh, because it went down. It just went down. It went down. It's oil l'rikia. was that? I don't think we saw that. Did we see that last night?
Your snoring is killing me!
Oh, Adam. This is the Kavachomer we just did. Ayin Aleph on the base. Adam shematzala tumo shebetoichem l'tameh. Hold on. A person, which we saw, that if he has a dead cat inside him, it doesn't make other things outside. Tameh. And then shematzala tahara shebetoichem l'tameh. So certainly the case of the ring, he should be just as good as the kli cheres, and the tum in the room should not go into the body. And then shematzala tahara shebetoichem l'tameh. Malik kli cheres. Oh, so that's what Aryeh was asking before, that, Kli Cheres has something special. You can't, if you touch it from the outside, you poke it, a dead person touches it, it's not metama. The only way Kli Cheres is metama is metoicha. I can't go through this whole thing now, but basically the ear space of a Kli Cheres becomes tameh, and that's a big chiddush. So if you take a dead sheretz and put it in the ear space of an earthenware thing, then that's avatuma. So the whole thing becomes a rishon. Okay. So if you touch if a dead person touches a human being, he becomes tameh. So kli cheres is different. Says Gemara, we're not even talking about the tumah that comes from the outside. We're talking about tumah that's inside of him. Either tumah is inside of him or tahara is inside of him. We're talking about the inside. So now I say the opposite. Now, if you take that, and we do this real quickly, so it comes out like this. Kli cheres doesn't prevent others from being metamet. Whoa, this is all mixed up. Okay. Milatama acherim. It doesn't go out of the kli cheres, but if something's inside the kli cheres, it protects. It's a shield from the outside. So a person, which we already established, that the tumah inside of him doesn't go out, so certainly he should protect a ring that's inside of him. So says the Gemara, okay, so now we're going on to something else. That's if somebody ate something right over here, if it came in from his mouth. But what if it came in, and this is the digestive system, this whole thing, and then it goes out over here? The Gemara Shaila is, what if it entered the body through the backside, not from the front side? So says the Gemara, how do you know if something entered a person or an animal even? Well, animal, I don't know. A person from the other side. When a person eats something and doesn't digest, the digestion doesn't happen from the top, although it does start, with the saliva, the whole thing. But the second part of the animal, this whole area, and that's just the final part of it, that's where it gets digested. So what if it gets digested? So then it's like as if it's not there anymore. You put in an apple, it comes out something else completely. It destroys it. So if I put it in the mouth, it has protection. Certainly if I put it in the other way, where it destroys things. So the Gemara, wait a minute. You have to chew it, saliva, go through the whole process. Then, so the top, the mouth, is a very important part of the digestion. But it's much more on the bottom. Okay, so we just saw if something is inside a Yerushalmi guy, both ways. Whether the tum is inside him, it doesn't go out. Whether the tahar is inside him, it doesn't come tameh. And how do you know the same concepts with an animal? This is a very simple kavachomer. A human being becomes tummy all the time. If he touches a sheretz, a dead person, an animal never becomes tummy when he's alive. In other words, he's much more protected against tumah. Yet a person has the ability, even though he's very sensitive to tumah, he doesn't allow the tumah to go out of him. Certainly an animal doesn't become tummy at all when it's alive. Certainly if something's inside of him, it shouldn't become tamei. Says the Gemara, it's not a good raya. Why? So maybe we shouldn't show the whole video because we're late. But a person has a house. He calls the kohen because he sees something funny on the wall. This coloration on the wall. So by us, it's Avremi Kohen. Avremi Kohen goes, checks it out. The Shavak Kohen, Uba Kohen, the whole thing. Checks it twice. I'll call upon him. In this Bayis HaMenuga, there's a halacha. If he has clothing, his clothing don't become tamei unless he waits there. Kidei achilas pras, the Gemara is going to say at the end. If an animal is wearing clothing, he doesn't have to wait. It becomes tamei right away. So the Gemara says, wait a minute. No, that's not a good tushtel to a person. What's the case? If you have a bunch of folded shirts on top of an animal, and he brings it in, they become tamei right away. Guess what? By a human being, it will be the same exact thing. If he's not wearing it, he's just holding it, then a person also, the clothing would become tamei right away. Oh, his clothing are folded. His wife folded the laundry and he brings it into the house. That becomes tamei right away because he's not wearing it. He's holding his rings. In those days, men used to wear rings. It says before, his rings, b'yadav. Hu v'hein tmei miyad. They are all tamei right away. If he's wearing the ring on his finger and he's wearing the clothing, hu tamei miyad v'hein toiran she'yishu b'chdei achilas pras. Then, so there's not, because the Gemara is saying there's not a difference between a person and an animal. Don't worry about it. What's a kidei achilas pras? We're not going to go into the whole thing, but it's a certain amount of time between 2 and 9 minutes. It's the amount of time it takes you to eat a loaf of bread. I want to remind Oilam when we learn brachas and sukkah, so the Gemara talks about the 7 things in the pasuk. Shivas haminim, eretz, chita, soira. Each thing has a certain. It comes to tell you a shear. This is for this. This is for that. What's the shear of chita? This. That the amount of time that you have to wait is to eat a half a loaf of bread made out of wheat. V'loy pasorim, chitim, v'loy pasorim. Mesav sitting, lift on, and you smear something on it, however the amount of time that takes, that's the amount over here. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. It's at mdydaf.com.